Hello and welcome to day two in the Big Brother house. No, sorry, I got that wrong. Welcome to day two of Stars and Spokes Land's End to John O'Groats. And once again, we are joined by Pascal. How are you this morning? Oh, sorry, this afternoon, Pascal?
Hello, yes, I'm good. I mean, you find me in Exeter and I'm just on the cusp of finishing the Cornwall and Devon Hills and then heading into the Somerset Flatlands. So I'm in a great mood.
You're in a great mood. I believe the temperatures are pretty similar to yesterday, if not a little bit hotter just for you.
Yeah, it's like deja vu from yesterday. It's boiling degrees. The only difference is I'm in Devon rather than Cornwall speaking to you today. Apart from that, it's about the same.
Okay, so we left you at about 1:45 yesterday lunchtime. What happened in the afternoon?
Yeah, so yesterday overall, I would describe as a pretty brutal day. To give you some stats to like summarize the day, if you like, in total distance, it was 220 kilometers covered over the course of the day. And the other big element, in addition to the temperature, was the height climb, so the amount of hills. Now, the stats show 3,000 meters of climbing uphill was done over the course of yesterday, in addition to the 220K. And to give you an idea, that's like cycling up and down Ben Nevis twice over the course of the day in 30 degrees, but also covering a distance of 220 kilometers. So yeah, it was hard work, and hydration was absolutely key to it. So every petrol station I passed along the way, as we mentioned yesterday, I jumped straight in. It was like, I don't know if you remember the Westerns where someone's going in to rob a bank, they jump in and they hold you up at gunpoint and say, give me your cash. I was doing that, but with give me your water at every petrol station. I didn't have a gun, obviously, and I had a bike, but yeah, just go every petrol station, give me all your water, where's your water? Buy like 4 liters of it every time I stopped, down that, and on I went. So yeah, a hard day. And the difficulty with what I'm doing is that if you fail to sort of hydrate properly on one day or treat yourself well on one day, you suffer the next day. So it's not like a standalone marathon or an Ironman or whatever, where you can sort of get away with it and you know you've got 2 or 3 days where you can just sit on the sofa after. I know that night I get my head down, the next day I then repeat it again. So if I don't properly hydrate, the next day becomes a problem, and the next day it's like a slippery slope. That's the difference with these multi-day events. So hard day.
Sounds like it. So stand and deliver has become your motto as you walk into any shops or, you know, refresh.
Or just give me water.
Just give me water. Yeah. No cash, just water. Yeah. So you stayed in Dartmouth last night, I believe, and that's the first time you've been back there since well, you were last there. When was that? Yeah,
so that's the first time I've been back there since 2005, since I passed out, which is what we call graduating from basic officer training. So back in 2005. So yeah, like 15, 16 years since I'd set foot in the place. And it was really interesting because after I got there and after I'd sorted out some food and some water, I had a quick wander around the college grounds and through some of the hallways and corridors and briefing rooms and stuff. And it just brought back memories as if I'd been there like only yesterday. And Dartmouth is the place where Dan and I met, 15, 16 years ago. And I remember walking down certain corridors or walking up a set of staircases, and it immediately brought back memories as if we'd been there only yesterday. And it's amazing how the mind links like physical spaces and sort of mental feelings, and how it can almost take time out of it, in as much as it takes you right back to the day as if you were there. And that's where our friendship formed like 15, 16 years ago. And yeah, it was like we were back there again, but obviously no Dan. So yeah, a really interesting place to go back to after so long.
So was this a place where you got up to some mischief that you're able to talk about, or is that what happens in Dartmouth stays in Dartmouth?
Yeah, so that's two separate questions. Did I get up to mischief? Did we get up to mischief? Yes. Can I talk about it? Maybe only some of it. So yeah, I mean, it's great because you're locked in there. When you first turn up, you do your militarization phase, which is 8 weeks, where like phones are taken away from you. You're chucked in a dorm room with 29 other guys, and you kind of just left to your own devices. And it's just absolute carnage. There's always someone around to cause mischief with, and it's just great because you cause the mischief whilst trying to not get caught causing the mischief. And that's where like the magic lies, and that's where the friendships get formed. It's brilliant. So many good memories of things that we were doing that weren't quite legal. But so maybe we stop there on that one.
Yeah, maybe just cut at that point, but we're live, so unfortunately we can't. Don't say any more, please. We're going to ruin your career here. So you said there was the memories, and then apparently you left there. I don't know this part of the very well. You're in Exeter at the moment, so I imagine it's probably a bit hilly.
Yeah, so yesterday was very hilly, basically crossing Cornwall, and then today is through Devon, essentially. And yeah, so it's same again, really, up until Exeter. So beyond Exeter is Somerset, and it's lovely and flat. But the first sort of 70 or 80 kilometres, which is what I've done so far today, yeah, has been equally hilly and some pretty long climbs, actually. So yeah, hard going. I set off early to try and kind of offset the temperature stuff, but already, you know, it's like early, it's low 20s. So yeah, it's been hard. But then in my mind, I knew arriving in Exeter, brilliant, I can have some lunch, and then it should be largely flat for this afternoon, which is brilliant. First time in a day and a half I've had flat roads. Looking forward to it.
So that psychologically helps, I'm guessing, does it?
Yeah, massively. So what I'm doing is breaking up the day. So the first half I know, right, get to Exeter, that's the hard bit. And then beyond that, it's probably another 80, 90K still to go, which sounds like a lot, but when it's flat 90K versus a hilly 90K, it's completely different. So yeah, it should be an easier, not easy, but an easier afternoon.
Well, that sounds good. I'll make sure that we turn the temperature up a bit for you if you don't want it to be too easy.
Real. Thanks, Steve.
That's all right.
I mean, you on?
You know, I'm on this journey with you in the comfort of our office.
Not on a bike, though, are you?
No, I am not. So
brilliant.
you also mentioned in our preamble before we went live that you met some fellow cyclists. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so there's this really big hill just on the outskirts of Exeter. So I was coming at it from the Dartmouth side. They were coming at it from the Exeter side. So I'd been climbing up on the bike for about 10 or 15 minutes, constant uphill. And I just got to the top. And I'd just gone over the top. So I was starting to come down the other side. And there were the group of lads. It must have been about half a mile from the top, but had obviously been doing the climb from the other side. And there was a group of 5 of them. A couple of them were fine, but the other 3 were kind of just sat on the side of the road, head in hands. They were absolutely hanging out. I don't think they were enjoying it very much. So I stopped and I said, right, do you guys need any water? You know, I've got some sweets in my bag. Do you want any of my stuff? Because I'm going down the hill now, and I'm only going to Exeter. And they said, no, we're fine. How far is it to the top? And I said, oh, it's literally just around the next corner, which it wasn't. But, you know, it's all about trying to keep morale up at that point. And then one of the lads turned to me, who had his head in his hands, and he just looked up, and it's the first time he'd spoken, his face, and he just turned to me and he said, it's just the heat. And that's all he said. And then he returned his head to his hands. I was like, that lad has summed up the whole thing. Yep, it's just the heat. And because I've obviously not had Dan with me, and so I've had no one to speak to about these sorts of things. And we mentioned it yesterday, but I've been internalizing a lot of what's been going on. And, you know, as I was going up the hill before I saw these lads, I was like, it's just hard work. It's the heat. It's a big old hill. This is hard. And it wasn't until I got to the other side and bumped into those lads that them saying it made me think, yeah, it is hard. And it kind of almost gave me like justification for feeling that it was tricky. Hearing them vocalize that rather than just me saying it in my head actually made quite a lot of difference. And I think that's the benefit of doing things with other people, is verbalizing stuff. When you have problems, just talking about it just makes a huge difference. It sounds simple, but it really does make a difference, I think.
Absolutely. So it's almost, because obviously these are complete strangers to you, but the actual act of talking to people kind of really helps with that. And obviously these people were in a similar situation. So, you know, sometimes it doesn't necessarily matter who you talk to, as long as you talk about stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, and these guys were clearly absolute strangers to me before I rolled into them along the road. But them just saying, and just that one guy with that look on his face and the words he used just brought us so close, like it was a shared experience at that point. But hopefully by now they're over the top of that hill and they're all feeling a little bit better about life.
Having met you, I'm sure they feel a million times better, a million times. So I'm not sure if everybody knows, if our viewers will know, but you're doing this solo. I don't mean that you're without Dan. I mean that you, as I understand it, is everything you've got, you take with you. You haven't got a support vehicle. There's not like hundreds of bikes or motorbikes, all the gear. So what's the difference, you know, practically?
Yeah, so I'm just spinning the camera around a little bit there so you can kind of see my bike behind. So what I'm doing is doing this solo unsupported, and you can see what that means is that there's a bunch of extra bags strapped to the side of my bike, which means the bike is an awful lot heavier. And what I do is keep what I call my sleep system in there. So like my sleeping bag and my roll mat, a little bivvy bag to sleep within if it's raining overnight. And there's no support team, you know, so it's just me solo. And every night, you know, I just find a space to sleep. Sometimes it's on a military base. Other times, like before I left Land's End, you know, the night before I just slept next to the Land's End post in a sleeping bag for 6 hours and then got on the road and went. And the difference being is that the bike is so heavy, there's no one handing out sweets out the side of a van as you go along. It is literally just you. So your admin just needs to be, you just need to be organized in terms of having your drinks and your food. And then when you get to the end of the day, you then have to find yourself a spot to sleep. And yeah, it's just a whole different ball game. And I see these people, a few people have passed me thus far on like super lightweight whizzy bikes doing the same as me, but the bikes weigh probably a quarter of how much my bike weighs. And it's on the hills that you feel it, because going uphill, it's just hard work with a heavy bike. I mean, the flip side is when you go downhill, it's like being in an oil tanker coming downhill. You know, you can't stop at the bottom because my bike weighs about 20 kilos. So I normally catch them up on the downhills. But yeah, I mean, that's the difference, and it is a big difference. Yeah, and I've noticed that a lot as I see a few people whiz by me here and there in big old groups with a little support van trailing behind. I think, oh, I wish I had that.
Well,
no, I don't really.
Don't give all your sweets away, because you know
Well,
that's your support. And I also
yeah,
hope you've got good brakes as well, because it sounds like you might need them coming down these hills.
Yeah, good brakes, which allows me to stop at the bottom of the hills most of the time. So that's great.
Okay. Just make sure there's no oncoming traffic. So
yeah.
Obviously you're doing this for a reason, and we're fundraising, or you're fundraising, should I say, for the Royal Navy Royal Maritime charity.
Yeah.
And I can tell you've just gone over £3,000, 3,010.
Oh, that's absolutely epic. Huge milestone.
So there's a few comments on here that I wanted to read to you, because I think you may know these people.
Can you read them out? Or
yeah, I'm going to read them.
Swear words in them. Okay.
Yeah, and then obviously feel free to ad lib from that point. So Jim and Marion Whitney.
Oh yes, Marion always bakes me cake, so this should be a good one.
Okay, so she said exactly that. Great effort, Pascal. Cash instead of cakes. I don't know if you're happy with that deal, but it is really nice of them to donate.
Yeah, on this rare occasion, I'll take the cash, but normally I'd like the cakes, please, Marion, if you are watching. But thank you, very kind.
Does she make the cakes?
Oh yeah, from scratch. Brilliant baker, and I just eat them, which is my skill.
Cool. You've obviously got a level of enthusiasm for these cakes. So keep that up, Marion, and thank you for the donation. And also we have another supporter, another donation from Dave and Sarah Page. And I'll read this to you. It says, "Hi, Pascal. We're the couple who chatted to you at the petrol station near Saltmarsh yesterday. Day one. Brilliant effort, particularly now solo, and great cause. Safe travels."
Oh, brilliant. That is great news. Yeah, I bumped into those guys just on the outskirts of Plymouth. And as we were talking about earlier, with jumping into petrol stations, getting all the water and just being on the forecourt, downing them, I was doing exactly that yesterday. And they pulled up and they got out of their car and they said, "Oh, it's a hot day for bike riding." I'm like, yeah, it is, yeah. and they said, "Where are you heading?" And I was like, "What, John O'Groats?" And they're like, "What? You're going to John O'Groats in this heat by yourself?" I was like, yeah. And we got chatting anyway. And the lady of the two of them, her dad was a submarine commander in the Navy sort of back in the 70s and 80s. And she'd actually been the beneficiary of a bunch of Royal Navy Royal Marines charity support over the years, you know, with her dad going away for months at a time. When they're in the submarines, you have no like connectivity, you have no comms, and the RNRMC provided a bunch of support to the family that were kind of left behind while they were away. So she was like, "Unbelievable cause, you're doing an unbelievable thing. We are definitely donating." And once they got back in the car, you know, they got straight on the website and they're saying, "We're doing it now." I was like, there's no rush, but that's great. Oh, but that's terrific, because I haven't had the chance to read all the sort of comments and see the total this morning. So that update, it gives me great cheer. So thanks for reading those, Steve. That's tremendous.
Yeah, so that's a good thing, actually. So if you are thinking of donating, which is great, please leave a comment, because we might be able to read some of these out. And if you've bumped if you bumped into people on your journey, it'd be great to sort of give people a shout out, because it's fantastic. They're obviously donating.
Definitely. And every time a donation comes in, it just makes me think it's just worth the brutality of this crazy heat cycling. So it's a massive boost. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
These donations offset a little bit of the pain. I'm not sure if it's enough yet for that.
Keep them coming in, it might. But yeah, no, that's great news.
Put a smile on Pascal's face, please, everybody. So that's great. And to donate, as always, we have the link in the description below. What's the URL, Pascal? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, so it's all through Just Giving. So it's www.justgiving.com, and then it's / stars and spokes for the donations. And in terms of like a daily update, in addition to this, obviously, I push out a short written summary of every day at around 8 or 9 o'clock at night on the Instagram, which is @stars and spokes. So to track, just pop your head into Instagram every evening and you'll see what what craziness I've been up to on that particular day.
And also we talked about yesterday, didn't we? We said that you maybe take some photos on your way when you get a moment, and that there's obviously a lovely photo of Cornwall, which I guess is where you slept for the night. We're not very far from.
Yeah. So that was the one from yesterday. Yeah, just as I was setting off, managed to take a quick snap of the scenery before I got on my way. Yeah.
Okay. So final question.
Yes.
Making it sound like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire here, haven't I?
Oh, okay.
So it's not. Final question. What have you got planned for the next 24 hours? Where are you going to be?
Okay, yes. So this afternoon, the remainder of this afternoon is going through the blissfully flat Somerset levels for about another 90k, and I end at Yeovilton, the air station, RNES Yeovilton. And as an aircrew officer by background, that's where I qualified, got my wings, and that's where I did all my flying operations from. So I'll be catching up with a bunch of flying buddies tonight over dinner, which would be fantastic. And then tomorrow, it's a cycle from Yeovilton down to NCHQ, which is Navy headquarters down in Portsmouth, ready for a meeting with 2SL, so the second in command of the entire Navy. So we're going to have breakfast together the day after. So yeah.
So for us civvies, and there may be more of them out there, 2SL is Second Sea Lord. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So second in command of the entire Navy. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. So you're obviously not to have too much beer tonight.
No. Yeah. Be careful about that one. Otherwise, I might not be in the Navy for many more days. So, but yeah, it should be good. Busy couple of days coming up.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, Pascal. And we'll see you same time, 12:30 and place, Facebook Live tomorrow. Perfect. Really looking forward to it. Good luck, and looking forward to hearing what you've got to say tomorrow.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Thanks all.